I've always heard leaders are readers, and kind of very true statement. I absolutely believe it. But every time I've ever heard that, very rarely is it followed up with, here's what they read and here's why. So I wanted to share with you what I'm reading and why. Listen in. Welcome to my journey of self discovery, life balance, career success, and business creation. This podcast works to answer the question of how successful professionals like us stop drifting and get focused on keeping our careers and businesses growing rapidly while having a full, balanced, and vibrant life that we absolutely love. What we call the Third Power Life. And this is the Third Power Life Podcast. As should come as no surprise to anyone, I am a huge self-improvement nerd. Absolutely love it. I started, I think I mentioned in one of my podcasts that I joined Amway business when I was 18, 19 years old and never made any money, but it got me into self-improvement, audio programs and books, book of the month, tape of the week. And I have been consuming it for years and years and years. I mean, you look at my bookshelf over there, this one right here. If you're not watching on video, or if you're listening on the podcast, I pointed to a section on my workbook. Those are actually audio CDs of Tony Robbins. But, I have lots of books, lots of audio programs. I consume them every day. So, they say that leaders are readers. So what am I reading? First off, kind of answer that. Well, for my morning routine, I always do my journal and then I read the section from the Daily Stoic. I really like Stoicism, the concept that it has about essentially being a good person. You have control of your mind. That's always do what's right, not what's easy. Those kinds of things really call to me. I like it. So I read that. Now that's a page a day. It's rough. Let me tell you, I've got to go in here and it's just one page. Whew, terribly difficult. And yet it makes a huge difference in my life. It gets me kind of started off in the right mindset. And after I do that, I'll do some meditation and then I do my morning study. And right now I am working on Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Fantastic book. I'm not quite halfway through. I will generally do about 20 minutes of this. And I'm actually, I got this great pen, the pen on one side, highlighter on the other. And there are times when I'm reading a book and I'll just kind of read. The morning study is different. I'm reading it more slowly and highlighting the things that jump out at me. And it helps me remember. And then I'll go back and generally when I'm done with the book, I'll kind of review the highlights and just see what it is that's interesting for me. And also a lot of times from those two things, a lot of times will come my podcast idea for the day. Not always. So that's the other book that I just finished. That was my morning study book, was Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's back over there over my shoulder, not put away yet. And that's a book, man. Now there are a lot of highlights in that book. I'm actually going to do a review of these as a kind of a mini series for the podcast. So that's my definite, I'm doing it every day, reading, and that's for the self-improvement. Now, I listen to a number of podcasts through the day to kind of that are usually related to cryptocurrency and self-improvement, marketing, that sort of stuff. But the other thing that I find equally as important is I read fiction. Now, for me, I'm a huge sci-fi and fantasy nerd. Brandon Sanderson, my favorite author, bar none. I am currently rereading his Mistborn series, and the book's in the bedroom. So I'm actually doing paper version. I prefer paper when possible. The having the book on here is really handy, especially with my phone that flips out. Um, but there's something about having the paper that's it's more visceral, and I like it a lot more. Yeah, having it on the phone is really handy because I can read pretty much anywhere. Waiting in car line for my son at school, there's the book, and I've got my whole library. So most of the time, I will buy the paper version and the digital version. That's just me. You know, I want to have the room that's the library, right? Right now, I've got a couple of good bookshelves. Got one over there, the one behind me, um, one in the living room. So it's coming, but I find that having the fiction, I like to do that before bed. Um, that's it's not like cheap fiction, I guess, but it's having something to relax you and to have downtime. There's this push in our world, and you probably hear it on here too, on this podcast, like you always got to be better, and working on ourselves and making progress and on the quest, right? And there's this urgency in today's world to constantly be busy, constantly be doing, constantly be working, right? And the reality of it is we need downtime. Meditation's important, but that's still it's working at relaxing, right? Um, we need fun time. We need time to. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about anything productive. I am going to immerse myself in this magic land, right? Or I'm going to immerse myself back in history, or whatever your taste in fiction is. And just get away for a while, escape the world for a little bit in a productive way. I really like reading authors that have a good vocabulary, that it's not just, low level books. But anyway, so that's what I read. I'm every day I'm spending 20 to 30 minutes reading something that is, you know, knowledge imbuing, right? Some type of self-improvement, learning, marketing, what have you. And I spend probably 30 minutes to an hour on some type of fiction for fun, to help my brain turn off after working and staring at all these computer screens all day. And yeah, and in my book, audiobooks are good too. I personally, I like the reading more than the listening. I find it's more intimate, but that's my style. I know some people that don't like to read. It just this is hard, right? And audiobooks are awesome. So, I have quite the Audible library as well that I listen to in the car. Um, so yes, leaders are readers. You need to be constantly growing, constantly learning, but also have some fun. And there you go. And that's one of those little things that helps me live my life to the third power. All right. Go greed. I'm glad you enjoyed this podcast. Please let us know what impacted you in today's episode. You can join our Discord or Facebook community to connect with like-minded people that want a real third power life. You can go to thirdpowerlife.com or look in the show notes for links. And remember, hit that like, subscribe, and rate button for the Third Power Life podcast. Until next time.